On our broadcast tonight, our NBC News exclusive, Ann Curry in Iran with that nation's new president. His first interview tonight, big revelations about nuclear weapons. Good evening, and we're going to begin here tonight with an NBC News exclusive interview that comes at a critical time for an entire region of the world. NBC's Ann Curry has made her way to Tehran, where she has just become the first Western journalist to interview the new president of Iran, Hassan Rouhani. This will be the first time millions of Americans get to see and hear him, and that includes many in the Obama administration. What you're about to hear is significant because it represents the first reason for any optimism, the first sign of any movement from Iran on the issue of nuclear weapons, right when the crisis in nearby Syria has reached its peak. And so we begin tonight with NBC's Ann Curry in Tehran.
Brian, good evening. In our interview, Iran's president was clearly trying to send a message ahead of his first speech to the United Nations that under his administration there is a different Iran, one that wants to make a deal. The world believes that Iran could build a bomb very quickly. You've said this period of time for resolving the nuclear issue will not be unlimited. Just how short is this window? Weeks, months, or years?
We have never pursued or sought a nuclear bomb, and we are not going to do so. We are solely seeking peaceful nuclear technology.
Can you say that Iran will not build a nuclear weapon under any circumstances whatsoever?
The answer to this question is quite obvious. We have time and again said that under no circumstances would we seek any weapons of mass destruction, including nuclear weapons, nor will we ever.
The Supreme Leader made a very strong statement just recently on diplomatic flexibility. He said, "I believe in what's already been called heroic flexibility. Even a wrestler can show flexibility." What does that mean to you, Mr. President? And what does it allow you in your negotiations on the nuclear issue?
In its nuclear program, this government enters with full power and has complete authority. I have given the nuclear negotiations portfolio to the Foreign Ministry. The problem won't be from our side. We have sufficient political latitude to solve this problem.
On Syria, President Rohani said Iran played a major role in crafting the U.S.-Russia deal. Can you assure the world that President Assad will give up all of his chemical weapons?
We are not the Syrian government. We are one of the countries of the region that seeks peace and stability and the elimination of weapons of mass destruction in the entire region.
Do you believe the United States, President Obama, looked weak in backing off an airstrike on Syria?
We consider war a weakness. Any government that decides on war, we consider a weakness. And any government that decides on peace, we look on it with respect for peace.
And President Rohani confirmed that he exchanged letters with President Obama recently, calling them tiny steps for an important future. That future begins at the UN next week, where he says he hasn't ruled out a meeting with President Obama. Brian?
All right, Ann Curry by satellite from Iran tonight. Ann, thanks. Much more of Ann's reporting on our website beginning tonight and, of course, tomorrow morning on Today. For more on this, we want to go to our chief foreign affairs correspondent, Andrea Mitchell, at the State Department. So, Andrea, this is the new man. The world came to know Ahmadinejad before him. What was important about what he just said versus what we have heard from Iran before?
Well, this is a very, very big deal, and I can tell you that at the White House and at the highest levels of the State Department, they were watching for this all day. They were looking for these signals in this interview because he made it very clear he wants a deal on the nuclear weapons. Now, the president told Jose Diaz-Balart on Telemundo just yesterday he wants to test his seriousness, and that is what they're going to be looking for at the UN. There's no formal meeting scheduled. They're not planning one. But unlike Ahmadinejad, his predecessor, you can very well understand that next week, when both of them are at the UN, the same time, the same place, they're going to look for an opportunity to see each other, to perhaps have a real conversation. And they believe that Iran wants this because of the sanctions, because they're crippling the economy, that the time is right, but that there's a very short window to see whether Iran is serious, whether this man with a clerical background can do the deal. And I was told by a top State Department official today that they have been working on this back channel for 2 years, and one of the significant players is the foreign minister, Zarif, who was the UN ambassador and is well known to everyone in this administration, Brian.
All right, Andrea Mitchell at the State Department and Curry in Tehran before that. Thank you both.